But it's not about a judgmental God outside of yourself. God, I don't think God judge. I think it's the biggest misconception in the Bible, actually. I think that God doesn't judge. It's about making your father proud because you realize that judgment, any judgment, is from the mind. Therefore, is from the ego, and therefore is from the devil himself. What's up, everybody? I'm Mick from the Indigo Project, and I'm happy and grateful to be here today. Thank you for clicking on my face. If you see, I had a little bit of sun. Summer is almost back. I'm enjoying it. The Canadian sun of East Coast Canada is almost satisfying enough. And at my work, I work in a restaurant. We took even a temporary wall out for the summer. We always put a wall in between the tables and the entry door just because, Canadian winter are kind of cold. And on this wall, we hang some drawing from kids. When kids come and eat in the restaurant, we ask them to draw, and then we ask them if they want us to hang their drawing, and it's super cute. There's kids drawing all over the place. And this year, the first drawing that we put there, that was an adult. One of my friends had made it, and she drew a tree with kids crayon, and she has some talent, so that was a beautiful tree that was standing out. But I noticed that all winter, a lot of kids drew trees for the first time. Everybody was looking up to that drawing, and they were. I'm gonna draw a tree myself, and this is how children are creative. They inspire their creativity to something beautiful they see. And feel the same thing when I watch YouTube channels. One person start with a trend, like one person that is really popular, and everybody follows the same trend. They do investigations, they use the same language, the same words than that person. A lot of people are critical towards others. They judge, they debate. It's always I am right and you are wrong, and it remembers me why I'm doing that podcast. It's because we have to try a different way. We have to try to stop judging people, and talk about the beautiful things, what connect us together. And today we will tackle a huge topic, maybe the most important topic of them all, because this is the center or the key to evolution in itself. It's a kind of topic that we think we understand, but we just see it on the surface and then we disregard it because it's super easy to think about forgiveness like, okay, I'll make an effort to tolerate that person, but that's it. But we have to look at the concept closer because it's first at the heart of the real way of Jesus preach about forgiveness all the time, and it's also the end game of every thought process we can have because all thought process end up with forgiveness or acceptation. You can try to fight that thought process as long as you want for 100 lifetimes if you want, but everything leads to forgiveness and acceptations. So my question is, are you really ready to show the other cheek? Welcome to the Indigo Project. So thank you for clicking again. Please like and subscribe, comment if you want to have a real discussion. I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, Facebook. Find me. There's some clips out there. And thank you for watching this right now. So first, sometimes we have to describe something by its opposite. We know that something is big because we compare it to something smaller. So we know that the thing is at least bigger than the other. We are experiencing this life right now because we have to experience a disconnection with God or an absence of God to remember that God He is always there inside of us. So, what is the opposite of forgiveness if we want to define it that way? Is it anger? Is it grief? Is it hatred? Is it fear? And for me, I think it's none of the above. Forgiveness is the absence of judgments. If we remove all the judgments towards something, there's no reason to accuse anymore. There's no reason to feel any grief towards anybody, any fear, any hatred, and even forgiveness in itself disappear when judgment disappear. If we don't judge, we don't need to forgive, right? So forgiveness might be completely removing judgment towards somebody, and God, it's hard. And this is why we try to see things with another lens here on that podcast. It goes right in the same ballpark than my last video about abandoning judgments and perceptions. I watch debate all the time on YouTube about religions, Christians versus Muslim versus New Age versus Judaism versus Christians, and another kind of Christians against another kind of Christians, and it doesn't end. Everybody wants to be right, especially in Christian conservatism, where they say, "I am right, you are wrong, prove me wrong, so I can judge you." Everybody has perceptions about everybody else, about others' beliefs. Their opinion create the veil of separation within any brothers. They use external arguments, stories, book, quote, experts to justify their own judgments, and they even expect God to judge everybody at the end, and to judge them all the time and for eternity. And the funny part is that they don't even let God judge because they judge people before God should judge them because they think that their God is the true God. It is a judgmental in nature. So I can be judgmental in nature too, in His name. I can punish, I can even start war and punish people because my God is judging and I can judge instead of Him judging. Like I know I should not kill, I know I should not do war, but in that specific situation, because God is judging you, I can take God's judgment and kill or start war for that reason. And for me, it doesn't make sense at all. Nobody looks inside of themselves for peace, for forgiveness, for new reasons, and say maybe it's not the way God is. Whereas the Jesus way, the way of Jesus was preaching that was to never judge. There's a famous saying that say, "Let the one who never sinned throw the first rock." Since I'm a dad, I noticed something different in me. I see my child like another kind of being. It's just impossible for me to be really mad at him, like to be mad hatefully at him, towards him, or resent him for anything. I mean, he's super young. He's 7 years old, and I know he's mostly ignorant about life, like any 7 years old can be. And can I really count him accountable for his actions, for his mistake, to a certain degree? I don't think so because he's too young, he's too ignorant. But what if I can see everybody this way? Like a father sees his children all the time with love and understanding. If my kid make a mistake, I can be firm, but I certainly won't be judgmental against him. And at the end of the day, if and that it's going to be controversial what I'm going to say, but if I love my kid more than anybody else in the world, my love rests on some condition. So it's not an unconditional love in a way because it depends on my relationship with him. So if we want to think about unconditional love, we have to think about a more global, same kind of love that we share with everybody. And that's hard. Since I create everything that happens in my life, I create the veil through I see the whole creation. I can choose to see myself in the image of God if I want. And therefore, to see everybody as an innocent child, like my own child, who make mistakes for emotion, for ignorance, and instead of judging them and sending them to hell for eternity because hell is literally the place of the unforgiven. This is literally what it represents. So if you don't forgive somebody, you send him to hell yourself. And it feels weird to look at the believers community in any religions, and I still feel super alone preaching the ultimate forgiveness. I feel like I am the bizarre one here who wants people to forgive other people. Am I am I the weird one to preaching that? I feel like I'm the rebellious one by preaching forgiveness, which is super weird. Everybody understand the concept of forgiveness until we have the excuse to say, "Oh, in that specific case, I have the right to judge. I am right to judge." But what if there was no exceptions to forgiveness? What if we should do it at everything in life? So the goal is mostly to look at our own perceptions like a child ourselves and shine the light on what's going on inside. This is where the veil starts to dissolve in our mind and we see life differently because we don't need to resent and we don't need to judge all the time. There's a saying in the Bible that talks about forgiving 70 times 7, which give us 490 times every single actions. And that concept got lost into time. But forgiveness goes both ways, right? You can be mad at someone, but that person won't feel that you're mad at it. So why are you still mad? You're the only one hurting yourself in that situation when you don't forgive somebody. So you don't do it for the other person. You first do it for yourself. You literally find a perception and opinion inside of yourself that you're mad at, and you decide to give it to somebody else. And this is what we call projection. And the goal is to find that perception inside of ourselves and forgive it right there before trying to throwing it on somebody else. So it is the way we can remove the judgment on anybody else. And more you forgive, more you realize the purity of the process inside of yourself. And this is how you do the work by forgiving what's inside first, from yourself to yourself. It's a gift from yourself to yourself. And as soon as you find that concept true, you see how you colored all your surrounding with all your judgments all the time. Life start to change because you don't judge. This is the real way to play the game. And at the same time, by really knowing how it works, you can be shielded from everybody's judgment, right? Because you know it's a perception that comes from themselves, from inside of themselves. And when you don't know that, you can protect yourself from you can protect yourself from the judgment from a part of themselves that is definitively not healed. And you understand that it's not really personal towards you. It's themselves from themselves to themselves, like you judge from yourself. And this is way judgment and forgiveness works. And still, there's something more to it. Every time you judge somebody, that generate a sort of guilt because deep down inside of us, there's a part that wants to give the benefits of the doubt. We want to connect with somebody and say, oh, maybe that person didn't mean that, you know? We want to recognize the purity in everybody, to recognize that somebody has the potential to shine the light, that somebody's behavior is either the extension of love or at least a cry for help for remember that same love. So it's either one or the other, you know. And a lot of time when you see bad habits, it's a cry for help to remember love. So when we judge, we declare guilt to somebody's innocence without any trial, and we think we are innocent ourselves. So, do you think you need a trial, or do you think you deserve forgiveness for yourself? How come it's so difficult to give it to somebody else then? If we think we deserve forgiveness, we don't need to be trialed here. So when you forgive innocence, you forgive ignorance, and you forgive the innocence in yourself first, then it's easier to reflect that forgiveness from ourselves into one other because it doesn't bug you anymore. Okay, I'm good with that part of myself, so it's okay that somebody else act this way. It's a cry for help. You forgive yourself because you know that you are whole and holy. You're constructed in the image of God, so you forgive other because you can't be the only one who is created that way. You can be the only one with that innocence, that ignorance of making mistake, but trying your best anyway, like everybody is doing. And that's the hard part. Even if we think we are on a spiritual path, judgment happens all the time. And like I said, I see Christians online who are highly judgmental, debating. We judge and then we offer the possibility of forgiveness. And deep down is because we crave forgiveness for ourselves. We want to forgive ourselves. And it's the only way to really feel lighter, to walk the path of forgiveness. It is to take the judgment of God off of you by forgiving everybody. This is how forgiveness helps you. This is how forgiveness heals you, and you attract forgiveness by manifesting it in your own life by yourself, by simply forgiving, by simply stop judging others. And this is the real forgiveness of the Christ. The real forgiveness of the Son of God is manifesting the forgiveness of God through you. We think that it's only Jesus that can do that, but what if the judgment of God will manifest through you? We're so connected with each other all the time that the thing we can forgive in ourselves, we link them to somebody else. But it's not about a judgmental God outside of yourself. I don't think God judge. I think it's the biggest misconception in the Bible, actually. I think that God doesn't judge. It's about making your father proud because you realize that any judgment, is from the mind. Therefore, is from the ego, and therefore is from the devil himself. In any occasion, we don't really know what the other person is up to at the end of the day. Even let's take the extreme example of a serial killer. It's really, really rare that somebody wakes up one day and decide, oh, you know what? Today I'm killing someone without any background, without any problems, without any emotion. That just doesn't happen without any motivation behind that decision. We can't know what it's in somebody's mind. How can we judge them without understanding that then? And sometimes we just see someone expressing a type of energy, and it makes us feel like when we were expressing that same type of energy, and it makes us think how we felt, how we hurt when we were feeling that type of energy, and we don't like that energy at all, so we throw it on somebody else and we judge them. This is the real meaning of walking on the world but not being from this world, because we can feel the energy of another people and not judge it, but we can be indifferent with it, with that energy, because we healed it inside of ourselves first by forgiving ourselves that we once gave that energy the control of our own feeling, and we are done with it. So that energy won't affect us anymore. Reacting means to act again. We react. Something happens and we act again. You act what you did in the past, the same way you did in the past. And how tired are we to act like we acted in the past? We have to move on from that. Let's choose love instead this time. Love instead of fear. Let's close our eyes and ask the spirit within, the voice within, that little angel that never let us down. Let ask it, what would you want me to say in that situation? What is the best appropriate thing that that person needs? And this is how we realize we are only here to extend love. This is our goal as human beings. Extend love and forgiving. We extend God's love, God's forgiveness, God's mercy through us. This is the lesson. And what if you are the savior in this world? Am I being blasphemous right now? But what if you are the savior in this world? And your role is to ask that voice, how can I be the most efficient to serve that purpose? How can I help someone to heal from its problem? Because this is how you are going to heal from yours. When you heal someone, you heal yourself at the same time. When you forgive someone, you forgive yourself at the same time. This is how entangled we all are. So even if someone hates you, you can either be defensive or you can look at the situation with innocence and ask what's going on here with real curiosity. Like it feels unnatural, so how can I find out what's going on? That disconnection feel weird, and how can I help you to get out of that hate energy thing that you're not comfortable in anyway? And ask yourself, hey, what's up? Is there anything I can do for you right now? The real reason why we allow ourselves to judge is because we think we know that energy as well, maybe better than the other person's. So we have that same energy inside of ourselves. We recognize it and we don't like it, and we judge it and we judge. And it's time to let it go. There's nothing that we see in others that we don't already know. And that's funny. If anybody who knows me a little bit, who's watching right now, you might have heard me say, I've been there once or twice. And it's fun. It's kind of a joke in my life when there's nobody to say anything. I always say, oh, I've been there, you know. But it's because I already literally been. It's because even if it's not the same situation, the emotion that you have inside of yourself, I can relate. I can have it, and sometimes it sucks. But I've been there, you know. So let's take the murderer example once again. Don't tell me you never had the thought, oh, I'm gonna kill that person. You know what I mean? Or at least, oh, I wish that person would disappear. You may not act on those thoughts, but dwelling on them, even for a fraction of a second, you've been there. You it gives you the energy and you recognize it inside of yourself, and you don't like that energy. Nobody likes that energy, and that's why when we see it in somebody else, we recognize it and we judge it. We judge that energy, therefore we judge that person. So who then is better than you at the end of the day, or less than you, or even equal than you? If we push that question a little bit further, who is really worthy of your love? Nobody, everybody. What's your standard here? What's your line in the sand for who you can judge or who you can love? You can remove the judgment. Is it blood? Is it relative? Or it's anybody? When you take a breath, when you take a step back and you see the situation as it is without judgment, you can see what cultivate that souls believe, because they think that it's the only way to survive in a sense. And you see it so clearly now. It's like a picture drawn in front of you, and because you see it and you don't feel involved in it anymore because you've been there, you can draft an answer pretty quickly. You can see the misconception in somebody's mind, and when you help somebody get out of that misconception, you escape that misconception as well. It's like telling someone, let's go out of that misconception together. Let's go out of that labyrinth together. By myself, I can't do it completely. But if we connect together, we'll do it together and we will heal together. This is how forgiveness works. So let's talk about what is projection. We hear that a lot with the concept of narcissism. There's a lot of psychological concept thrown out there, but let's recap. So, if the last step of grievance is acceptance and therefore forgiveness, I'm gonna stop judging at one point. But the first step of the whole process is denial. I don't own that energy. It's not true. It's not mine. I'm gonna throw it to you. It just makes sense that denial bring judgments because you don't want it. You throw it on somebody else. And I said last time, whatever you experience is your fault. So at least own it, you know? So the denial can already be fought because you have to own everything that happens in your life. And you know, Christian says that the only sin that God doesn't forgive is to deny Him. But when we judge, when we project, we're denying God's plans for ourselves. We're grieving our power away, and we say, I have to feel that distortion. I have to dance with the devil because God is not here anymore. And this is the real meaning of denying God is judging your brothers and sister and being in denial of the presence of God. This is what that ultimate sin means. When you deny God, it's because you judge, you think that God is not there. You judge to protect yourself and you deny God. Because if you were sure that God is with you, you will not act like this. You will not be defensive or fearful or judgmental because you will know that God has all his children looked for. So when you judge, you deny God, and this is the real sin of denial, is judging God, is judging people or judging God at the same time. When we judge, we deny that. We deny our closeness with God and we justify hatred, anger, and punishment. Punishment without even a chance of healing. We punish to punish, even just because we want to be the one who is saved, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. We even want God to send people to hell because if people goes to hell, it proves that I'm going to paradise. Like we're kind of happy about that. And this is exactly what Jesus told us not to do. The way to really make peace and forgive, it's not about focusing on the other, but it's all about making peace within yourself. It's like fighting for peace. How can we think about fighting for peace? We first need peace within ourselves. If we want to achieve peace in the world, we need to find that peace inside of ourselves. And it's with forgiveness. Like, for an example, I've been watching investigative podcasts, you know, the Charlie Kirk story or name it. And I think some of the conspiracies out there are worth investigating for sure. It's super purposeful in our reality. But I think at the end, if we all need to conduct investigation, it's going to be with peace and love and without hate, you know, because if we hate the people we investigate, nobody's winning. Even if we hate the devil himself, it's the devil's that wins. So it's all about our intentions, and it needs some serious commitment. It all comes back to watching your thought, your word, your actions all the time. Watching your feeling and investigating what's going on inside of yourself. What provoked the reactivity or any reactions, what makes it happen and why. And if you feel a bad emotion, you can stop right there and ask yourself, am I judging? What is the source of my discomfort right now? What is going on inside of myself that makes me feel that way, that makes me feel judgmental, that makes me hurt? And the most important, is it possible for me to choose another path? And it's hard. Let's say someone broke into your home and stole your laptop. I know it's an extreme situation, but you're like, oh, I can't, how can I forgive it? I mean, like, this is a weird situation. And it's really, really easy to judge that person and to justify the judgment and the hatred toward that person. I'm right. What was he thinking? Like he broke into my home and stole my laptop. I should judge him now. But what if I tell you that even in that situation is never justified anyway? I know it's really extreme to grasp, but what if we go beyond that for a second? Beyond the fact that you worship a simple item more than you worship your own peace, your own divinity. That laptop is just a piece of plastic at the end of the day with like on our spiritual path. I know money is the way we live, but still our own peace should be more important than our own money. And what if you choose to see it like if life brings you the opportunity to love or hate all the time? Love it or hate it one more time. That's the quest. And you can be grateful for that opportunity to choose love at any turn. And I know it's hard to change our perception that to think like that, and it feels great afterwards when we choose the right decision. But detachment is hard. And every single one of those struggles are an opportunity to choose again between forgiveness or judgment, between love or fear. And what if you can acknowledge that sometime someone can just not know how to live in this society? How sad is it that some people are so much into struggles that they don't care how they act, how they behave with another? Have you been there before? Not acting a little bit weird, a little bit frustrated, a little bit drunk? Because I have been for sure. And those people, they don't think about self forgiveness. And you can, you know? They don't know about forgiving their dad or their mom or their past or their own actions. And you can. You're there. You're now. If you're watching that, you can. So if you realize that, you can find some compassion somewhere for those people instead of judgments. Anger is never justified. There's the story of the Saint Anger, I know, the story of Jesus, but it's something else that I don't really believe in it. I believe that Jesus was also subject of human behavior like us. He had the power to be saint and sinner at the same time. And that one, the Saint Anger, was one of its human downfall. That story and the fig tree story as well, when he just throw bad energy out there. And let's see life as a school. We have to learn peace, we have to learn love. You choose what you want to perceive, and you choose what you want to feel, and you choose what you want to love. If you choose to awaken in your life, if you choose the spiritual path, quote unquote, you choose to attract in your life situation that will test your love slash judgment meter all the time. This is the path. And it's your choice to choose wisely or impulsively. If you want to get better at life, at being calm, being in peace, you have to see everything that happens like a test. Am I going to react? Am I going to judge? Or I'm going to be in peace, you know? And just a little side note here. Um, it is so easy in the morning to wake up and see a partner and to resent that partner right away. Oh, that person didn't wake up early enough. Oh, he fell asleep with his working clothes. Oh, she didn't turn off the light, whatever. But it's your choice to see that the perfect partner at the end of the day. It's your choice. You can see that person like the angel Gabriel, the messenger of God that brings you the good news that you have the power to choose love over conflicts, even when you wake up in the morning. Love over judgment, forgiveness over judgments. This is where your life begins to change with that attitude, with that compassion, with that forgiveness. You start to see life as it is really and not as it used to seem. And when you see life as an opportunity for your soul to feel better, you kind of understand its purpose and you understand that you have to forgive. And it's like a workout for the soul. It's like jogging. Nobody likes to jog, you know. They don't do it for the doing, for the running and being like, oh, God, I love that feeling of being exhausted. This is not what people run. But if you run 10K and then sit on a patio with a good beer, we can be like, oh, that feels so great. And this is why I do that. This is why I run. Same thing, forgiveness is not fun on the moment. You know, you have the self introspection, the accountability, the slap in the face, but right after it changes your life and you want to do it again. It's like running. You can even be thankful for how you feel. And you can be thankful about those reasons why you judge because it brought you to where you are at this very moment and it's for the purpose of it. You can even ask yourself, what is this moment teaching me right now at this very moment? So every moment is an extraordinary moment. Boring doesn't exist anymore because you can learn with everything, with every thought you have. So you can bring awareness now to every moment and ask yourself, how many times in a day you have the blessing of being disturbed? This is how many moments you have the opportunity to choose your own peace, and God knows how many occasions in a day. There's so many. You have the opportunity to choose peace over judgment, and then other moment comes and you can still choose peace again. That's the goal of life, forgiveness. People say you should do a pilgrimage or you should have a monastic life or you should isolate yourself from any conflicts, but the real reason we are in this life, in your life right now, is to experience life. It's bad and it's good side. And within your life right now, you don't need to be somewhere else. You don't need to be isolated. You just have to take consciousness of your own reality and be there in the moment to see how you can extend love at every moment through forgiveness. And if you are here, right now, is because it's meant to be. And you should not be somewhere else. This is why your life is holy, because you are right where you need to be in God's plans, learning that forgiveness, being tested, and choosing peace. You don't need to fight it. You just have to play the game and just try to forgive. This is how you gain points in the video game of life. And when you load that video game and you don't want to play by the rules, you're not really want to play the game. And anyway, if even if you want to play that game, if you don't want to play by the rules, it just don't really work. And if you embrace the game, if you play by the rule, it won't matter anymore what the other thinks because they still don't even understand the rule themselves. But you do. And the rule is the game of forgiveness. Before playing Monopoly with someone, we have to explain all the rules and the foundation of the game so everybody can play on the same level. And if someone doesn't want to learn the rule and say, I'm going to play anyway, you can just feel sorry for that person for not winning at the game and to feel bad because he doesn't understand the game. So you have to understand how the games work. And this is how life works. It is the game of forgiveness. What if those rules was your way home, the way to achieve peace? What if those rules was the ultimate goal of life, of what we experience right now? What if forgiveness is the only way, the Jesus way? How can we follow the Jesus way but still judge and condemn other people? I cannot wrap my mind around that. And just by judging your own life instead of everybody else's life, you can literally wash your dishes and say, oh my God, this is my way back home. This is it. I'm washing my dishes, and this is the way I will reach bliss by just enjoying it. Or you can blame your partner for not doing it. It's your choice. And just look at how you're going to feel after that. Because it's so easy to curse our own life. I'll never achieve that. I'll never have enough money for that. I'll never be recognized for what I'm worth, etc., etc., etc. But every single time you judge yourself in that way, you have weakened yourself or another. Because it's the same thing. You judge yourself or another, and you create weakness in your life. And there's that closeness to God. It's like a conduit of energy through you. And every time you judge, it's like building rust in that conduit. And every time you forgive, it's like dissolving that rust. Judgment is contraction, and forgiveness is relaxation. It's peace, is love, is faith. And let's be that conduit of God's love or God's forgiveness against judgment. We already talked about how we can make our consciousness empty because it's just the empty vase that we can feel, right? Forgiveness allow that emptiness to happen. This is how we empty our mind. It's forgiveness that allows the magic to happen, which lead to compassion. Someone break into your place and steal your laptop. I know it sucks, but by forgiving the person, you're declaring that you cannot be poor. You're decreeing that nothing of real value can be taken from you. And you're installing those parameters for yourself. You're declaring that you don't want judgment in your life, even if you have the occasion to. You're installing boundaries about your own feeling and you take control of them just with forgiveness. And this is how you heal your own life. This is how you find peace. I know that in our society, it doesn't make sense, and we can continue to choose to not forgive still, and society will continue to run the way she runs all the time. It's our choice, and it all starts from ourselves first. So if you really, really want to be selfish, you should forgive anyway. Because forgiveness is a gift from you to you, and there's nothing more selfish than that, you know? Because when you judge, it emotionally throw you to a place you don't want to be anyway, which is not centered in yourself anymore. And judgment is so powerful when we think about it. It's like if every cells of your body are not in harmony anymore. They act differently. They don't work as one because you don't accept to work as one with others. You judge them. You create a veil of separation between people, between you and God, and it create that veil of separation in your own body. Your cells can't work in unison if you are not in unison with your brothers and sister, and they break down. It create this ease. You're not at ease anymore because deep down you are not at ease with yourself and with others, with your own unity of body, mind, and spirit. So the thing to do when you hear that little devil whispering in your ear, any kind of judgment, oh, that person is like this, oh, that person is like that. You can recognize the devil for it is, you know, recognize the energy of judgment, and you can just say, wait a minute, that voice is not mine. This is not my voice. And if you start to judge that very voice, if you start to judge the devil itself, bad news, you're still judging and you throw it on somebody else anyway. So the goal is to just recognize that energy and say, for my own sake, I should choose again. And I should forgive. I should forgive that little voice. I should forgive the devil himself and be in peace with myself. There's no more past and no more future. Even if an event happened in the past, when the energy of judgment comes, you take it from the past and bring it into your present. I think, therefore I am. What I think right now define what I am. So what if I think about something that I recently 10 years ago? I am it right now in this moment. So you bring you into your present moment in a place where you can choose again. And this is exactly where forgiveness happens in the moment right now. Sometimes we're like, oh, I wish I can go back in the future or back in the past and be nicer, be more merciful. But you know what? You can. You're not going back in the past. You're bringing the past in your present and you forgive right here, right now, in the moment, aka you stop judging your past. You stop judging events, you stop judging people, and you stop judging yourself. You think about that moment and you say, you know what? I can choose again. I can just not judge myself or others in this moment. And I extend forgiveness to that memory of mine, that perception of time and space. And then I can make it up better now and I can choose again. And this is how our minds are linked together. Even if the person is not there with you, in this moment, forgiveness is passed away anyway, and then in their own self, they have to do the same process anyway that you just did. They have to think about forgiveness and look inside of themselves for the same events because we all have that process to do in our life. And they will do it themselves as well. It's all a matter of choice, and everybody is confronted to that choice of forgiveness, even if it's not in that lifetime. It is the choice. It is a game of life, and we can choose about where you want to be in your own life. The other part is when I don't recognize that little voice, that little demon. When I react instead of thinking, sometimes the reaction is stronger and I don't even think about it. And I start drama. Even without thinking about it, I really have to take it as a clue that something is not healed inside of myself. If someone can push my buttons, the button is right there on something within myself that needs healing. So we can identify what needs healing inside of ourselves by knowing ourselves, really important. But knowing, looking inside and say, what pushes that button that makes me react like that? So every time you can, just observe yourself and you can find what to forgive inside of yourself by your own reaction. That's the beauty of that game. Watch yourself react when someone is critical about you. Or you can ask yourself, how does critics affect me so much? For me, I realized it with the concept of rejection. Oh boy, I had problem with rejections all my life with things that happens in church really early on in my life or in high school, just not as an adult not being invited to a party somewhere, to an event, people partying without me. I had a huge problem to deal with that energy, and every time that I was dealing with that energy, it was bringing back all the memory of the time that I felt rejected. But now, at least I know that if anything related to rejections happen to me, I see it coming from afar, and I tell myself what my friend Jennifer says, not today, Satan. I can tell myself that I'm done with that energy and I don't need to be the center of everything. I don't need to be recognized as super cool. I am anyway. I even need to do the opposite. Actually, I need to do my own things, to mind my own business by myself. I need to walk my own path, and loneliness is quite pleasant when we allow it anyway. And I'm telling myself, I changed my mind. I'm choosing again, and that choice is love over fear, forgiveness over judgment. I heal that part inside of myself and I don't I stop judging the people for feeling that I created inside of myself first. And that picture disappeared from my mind and then I can see the real light in everybody that pushed me aside in my life, anybody that I resented, they still had a light inside of themselves. And I asked my little angel to help me see that light again, to help me choose again. This is how forgiveness works. I can see the light inside of somebody else and see the ignorance sometimes and see, you know what? I choose not to judge. And more we do it, more we become good at it. Like everything else, it's a skill to develop. And more we can do it quickly, like that, feelings are gone and then compassion appears. This is the old process of compassion. It's easy to see, it's easy to say we have to be compassionate, but how can we be compassionate? By choosing not to judge again and by choosing to recognize the light inside of your brothers and sisters and your behaviors, your words, even your thoughts will change by themselves just because compassion fills the emptiness of the mind. The vase that was filled with judgment back then and by overthinking is emptied and completely ready to be filled with compassion. And it happens even without realizing that we are its conduit, that we are the vase that needs to be filled with that compassion. We believe in the story of Jesus Christ, but when we think about the ultimate forgiveness in our society, it doesn't make sense. Imagine forgiving someone who's literally driving nails in your hands at this very moment. Imagine even feeling compassion for that person. as he is driving nails through your hands. I know it sounds crazy, but did society become crazy by not allowing forgiveness? The deepest truth can sound crazy to craziest people, I think. And I think we became crazy by not forgiving. By forgiving that person, by giving compassion instead of judgment, it can change the other person's life forever. That person can understand things, and that person may heal that place inside of himself and never drive a nail in someone's hand ever again. And that's the beauty of it. It's a metaphor, I know, but so forgiveness creates a space for self-healing, but also to heal somebody else. This is all linked, our mind, our heart together. This is the danger of dissociating with God. And this is why I don't recognize some religions out there, because we think that only Jesus can and should do that. We don't think we can. Therefore, we don't think we should forgive sins. People were obfuscated what Jesus was saying, that he was forgiving sins. But what about you? Can you forgive? Can you forgive sins? Because when you forgive your brother's sins, you do the action of forgiving their sins. And we even think that even God can do that or doesn't want to do that, that he doesn't forgive anyone, that he judges all the time. We even start wars for that very reason, and we think that we're doing good. Come on. If you have ears to hear, listen. You are capable of that love. We are, because the very essence of our consciousness is made with that love. It's already there. God forgive through you. God love through you. So every time you end your day, you can forgive what happens with one breath. We can tell ourselves, I release and I forgive this day. It was perfect in its own way. And it's done. And I let it go. It doesn't matter what you did yesterday or 3 weeks ago. It's useless to bring the past in the present. It's true that another web of cause and consequences would have opened up if you would have chosen this over that, but it's done. It's finished. And now you're missing the glory of the present because you think about the past and about resenting that past. Remember that you always create. This is why we should focus on the present right now. So when you go to bed, you just think about forgiving. Don't bring judgment to the next day. Don't even bring it into your dreams. And rest like God rested on the seventh day, with the empty mind full of compassion for its creation. Because each thought creates your next day. It even creates the next minute of your life. So choose them wisely and forgive. So I can go on and on and on talking about forgiveness. It is the biggest topic. I can talk for hours and hours, and but it is the most important concept of them all. It is the key to your salvation. Even if forgiveness seems stupid in our society, it is always the solution. And when I say always, it's always the solution. We're going to continue to talk about forgiveness for sure. We're not end for the old topic until we completely understand its fundamentals, and until you look in the mirror yourself and say, behold, the Savior appears. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please like, subscribe, and comments. We need to talk about this. Namaste.